Hineni, here I am.
Hineni, here I am.
Hineni, oh, find us me.
Here we are, transforming ourselves
Merkava l'shchina,
into a vehicle for divine presence.
Merkava l'shchina, oh, Hineni, oh, find us me. Merkava l'shchina, Merkava l'shchina, oh, Hineni, oh, find us me. Merkava l'shchina, Merkava
This transformation has come about through the guidance of our beloved teachers.
How wonderful to see this sea of loving faces and the beautiful souls shining through the eyes. I want to welcome you all this evening to this very special moment that we come together to honor and to celebrate these 15 amazing souls. 14 here on the stage, one who couldn't travel to be with us this week, but whose image is present and whose voice will be channeled through the voices of some of her chavra here on the stage with us, and who we trust is joining us from her own computer this evening, however late it is there on the East Coast. And I share this nachas, this incredible joy and delight with the faculty of the Hashpa'ah training program, Rabbi Sean Zebit, my beloved Haber, Reb Sandra Wartzel, and Reb W. Danielle Clipper. And of course, the Va'ad and all of the Mashpi'ot and Mashpi'im who serve the spiritual formation of all of the students in the ordination program, many of whom are seated here in the front row, and I want to name Rabbi Eva Sachs Boulder, our Rosh Hashpa'ah, Rabbi Phyllis Ocean Berman, Rabbi Ori Har DeGenero, Rabbi Mark Novak, Rabbi Shefa Gold, Rabbi Ruth Gon Kagan, Rabbi Marcia Prager, the Dean of the ALEPH Ordinations Program, Reb Sarah Cohen, and somewhere hiding in the back, Rabbi Chana Tiferet Siegel, all of whom serve some of the students who are here before you tonight. And I'm just filled with joy at this sea of faces. I'm just overwhelmed that so many of you are here with us this evening. And particularly those of you loving family and friends of these neshamot, of these incredible souls, who've been with them on the journey for these past 3 years, supporting them, loving them, giving them the courage, and the nourishment in all four worlds in order to complete this program. The ALEPH Hashpa'ah training program for Jewish spiritual directors was the dream child of Rabbi Shohama Wiener, who inaugurated this program in January of 2006. Reb Shohama herself was inspired by our beloved teacher, Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi, Alav Shalom, who really believed that Hashpa'ah, spiritual direction, is at the heart of everything we do in community and in our own spiritual growth. When I became a student of his in the 90s, the one requirement that he made of me was that I should have a Mashpia and that I should be in Hashpa'ah, that I should be in this relationship of spiritual direction for the rest of my life. And I've taken that very seriously, as did Reb Shohama. Over the years, it became really clear to all of us that as Reb Zalman saw the transformation taking place in religious life, that he really saw this as the core role and responsibility for spiritual leaders and spiritual teachers, and was our inspiration and our greatest cheerleader, and continues to be so from those other realms beyond. It's a privilege for me, for each of us, to offer Hashpa'ah. And it is an even greater privilege to participate in the unfolding and the transformation that these neshamot who are called to this work experience in our 3-year program.
You are standing, not just. The love and the care and respect that underscores our program really emanates from the larger ALEPH world and are bearing witness to what the ancients called the 4 worlds of existence. And so our program tries to remain mindful of the physical, emotional, mindful, and spiritual realms of each of the participants. And the 3 years is constructed to expose us to each of those intertwining dimensions, whether it's the deep one-on-one listening, the stretching in the morning, the Hashpa'itic approach to davening, which for some is a bit of a stretch and others is a great entry point to even understand what it's all about, to the crayons and the artistry and everything that Reb Sandor provides for people to draw their experience, the breath work, all these practices. And the basis of that 4 worlds toolkit is the understanding that our very existence and the witnessing of another person is powerfully transformative and the greatest gift we can give anyone. And so the aspect of actively listening to the whole of that person, how they're sitting, whether the tear is silent or there's a twinkle in the eye of the emotional field, the thoughts that swirl around, and the spirit that is unnameable and intangible and yet exists and is the sea like oxygen for us that the fish swim in, is all around us all the time. And I want to acknowledge in the room here, we're blessed with some of the 18 souls who have begun the 3-year journey with us. If you would, just put your hands up, who just started the program with us.
Oh, no.
Right? Okay, that's your call. And I'm going to take Ellen's lead, those who have been through the prior 4 cohorts. Come on, Ellen, put your hand up. There you go. Now we're willing to admit it, yes. Okay. Look at this room filled. I know Reb Avram Addison is here, who with Bobby and others birthed Lev Shomea and contributed. Our brothers and sisters in Morey Derech and Yedidya, Rabbi Miriam Klotz and the new program at HUC. We have birthed a field of Hashpa'ah, spiritual direction, that did not exist the way it did for Zalman in the yeshiva with the Mashpia, keeping an eye on him, in the liberal Jewish world. In fact, 20 years later, my Mashpia is still a Methodist minister because there was no liberal spiritual director in the Jewish universe to go to at that time. And so we have birthed these programs and co-arisen with each other and added to the God field in those four worlds that we described. And so our hope for you this evening in the beautiful ritual that you have all constructed is that you will experience a taste of that which we have all been through each other, offered you, sometimes you might have said subjected you to, whatever the experience was. And now you know that the joy and the challenge is the same part of the non-dualistic core of the art, of the beauty that each of you are from the moment you were born to the moment you started this program and are right now. That has never changed. But in the 3 years you have become these amazing human beings to bear further witness to the soul life of others. And we are forever blessed for that. Amen.
I wasn't sure what God wanted of me.
I was looking for guidance and wanted to feel more connected to Spirit.
I had not acknowledged my difficulty with meditation.
I was not afraid of silence, but it took me a while to become comfortable with it.
I wanted to enrich myself in my rabbinate from this God-centered place.
What do you yearn for?
In times of transition and change, guidance comes if we listen for it.
Discovering how we are each connected to Spirit.
Cultivating the ability to listen deeply.
Holding people's stories.
We are sparks of the divine, co-creators with God.
I thrive on reflecting the light of another.
I usually live in my head, but this program taught me to live in my body and connect with emotions and spirit to exist in all four worlds.
Can you hear the voice of God?
I don't know. I'm afraid of going into the recesses of my soul.
I really did not want to be handed that sort of opportunity to growth right now.
I didn't realize how busy my mind was until I tried to quiet it.
Am I really worthy of doing this work?
What if I don't believe in the angels or guides?
And was my ego getting in the way?
Doing that full life review was like looking in a mirror. There were some things I was hoping not to see.
Hashpa'ah. What is received? And how do we receive it?
Holy listening is listening in a way that draws out the story that wants to be told.
I learned that it's not about me.
Practicing with my Havruta partner helped me see through the eyes of another.
This work of Hashpa'ah was different than I expected. It was so raw. It's not about words. It's about presence.
There is the sense of intuitive knowing. The paradox is in sitting in the not knowing.
Just when you think you know, you find that you don't.
Who knew? I could be a channel for divine energy.
But it could be wrong.
Definitely could. Simply being with another is so powerful.
And in the silence, we can speak without words.
When we let go of control, the magic happens.
He was struggling to let go of his old story.
But she wanted to cultivate her inner life.
She told me, you are like a spiritual scout, a tracker. You put your ears to the ground and tell me which way the buffalo are running.
It's not about fixing anyone. It's about learning to quiet the noise in my head, not to judge, and being able to hear what comes through me. It's not about me.
And we learn to see with the eyes of love and help illuminate each other's dark places.
Bearing witness to the great mystery unfolding right before my eyes in a session, I didn't have to do anything. I just had to be.
I learned that silence and presence can be the most compassionate and healing response.
This work helped me bring an understanding of faith and surrender to a dying woman when she needed it the most.
Hashpa'ah is so powerful. I wish everyone could do it.
He made me, oh,
Where is God?
In greatest grief and in greatest joy, in the face of my Havruta partners.
we learned from each other. I was being held in the presence of the mystery through the loving presence of our group.
And we were blessed to have this real life laboratory.
The personal life challenges that we faced brought us closer to each other.
Ritual and community offer comfort in situations where there are no answers.
And after your open heart surgery, we told you that we had dedicated our class that night for prayer for your healing.
It touches me so deeply to be cared about like that. It still brings tears to my eyes when I think about it.
And in my grief, I could not pray. It took me a while to learn that I could be grateful, and it did not take away from the healing word of grieving.
Learning how to turn challenges into blessings.
God didn't destroy my house in the flood. God showed up in the response of those who came to help me afterward.
And God is in the space between people.
God is in the great unfolding mystery.
God is a constant, loving companion.
God is the animating energy and intelligence of the universe who wants to be known by us.
God is the loving energy that I can always lean in.
I am trusting the unfolding
Something shifted. We are never alone.
I am more present.
I think I'm learning to forgive.
I'm finally learning to forgive myself.
And I'm discovering still that each of us has a divine spark within our beings and a particular unique purpose.
And I have finally learned to love myself and still practicing self-compassion.
When I allow divine love to pour in and hold me, my insecurities just melt away.
I didn't even know spiritual guides existed, and now I bring them in all the time.
We make Torah our own when we find ourselves in it.
To our relationships with congregants and family members are shifting now, deepening.
For over half my lifetime, I've tried to understand, how do I serve God? Now I know that I'm already doing it.
It was deep, so deep that I sometimes wasn't sure I could go there.
Looking at everyone's faces, I feel such love.
And don't forget the laughter. More laughter. And more laughter.
Deep, soulful laughter.
Deep, 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 soulful laughter.
And these are my people.
And why can't this class go on forever and ever and ever?
To our teachers, our Mashpi'im, and to all our family members, we say,
Thank
you.
I needed rabbinic affirmation for my devar, and you answered the call.
At a certain point, you figured out how to patiently accommodate my dizzying schedule of classes and meetings.
You lovingly prepared delicious dinners for me after my evening classes concluded. Thank you for learning to cook all my favorite dishes.
You taught me to finally be able to benefit from a guided meditation, and then even to be able to lead one.
You held a safe space for me, and you trusted that I would learn what I needed to learn.
And to my teachers and Mashpiot, you were models of holy presence and sources of loving and compassionate guidance and support.
You clearly named the new skills needed and old habits to be set free, set aside, whatever. Thank you. You saw the good in me and let me know. And you saw me at my worst, and you still saw the good in me. And supported me, loved me.
My Mashpia is an angel in a human body. You have helped me surf the waves of pancreatic cancer, creating a safe container to feel God's presence, holding me with your loving guidance. I finally know who I am and why I'm here, to love and to be loved, and to reflect back to others their true essence of beauty.
Serving God with joy.
Spiritual directors in training, and the challenges we have learned to face while taking the work very seriously, but ourselves less seriously. Here we have a Mashpia, a spiritual director, and a Mashpa'ah, someone who is seeking more spiritual intimacy. The standing person, our Juliet, will speak the inner thoughts of the spiritual
That sounds like a very challenging situation that you're describing. How is your relationship with God in the midst of this challenge?
That's a good question. It's a standard question.
Interesting question.
Uh-oh.
Let me think about that.
Think about where God is. You came for spiritual direction. Oh God, she didn't like that question. Don't people know what they're coming for? Maybe I shouldn't ask that. Maybe it's too soon. Okay, you can do this. Calm down, breathe. Silence is your friend. Breathe. You got this.
Wow.
What happened?
I've never thought about this issue in that way before. At first, I was really uncomfortable with the question.
What? With God? Spiritual direction.
And in the silence, I became very aware of how awkward I feel when using the word God.
Oh, it's so typical these days.
Even though I feel very sure that there is a creative, loving force out there, I just don't know what to call him, her, them, it.
Everybody wants to be so creative these days. Just God. It's so simple. Keep it simple.
Well, that's great that you had that insight.
Yeah, don't be judgmental.
So let's go back into silence for a moment. Why don't you ask the divine what name they, he, she, it wants to be called?
Good standard question again. Silence. Okay, silence is my friend. Silence is my friend. Patience. come out of this? Don't look at the clock.
What happened?
Oh good, she had a great moment.
What did you hear?
Well, I heard a gentle voice.
A gentle voice. She heard God's voice. I don't even hear God's voice. I'm such a fake.
I heard a gentle voice telling me that it isn't important right now what name I use. It's more important to be in communication.
Wow, she's so enlightened.
And I can call God whatever I want.
Don't be judgmental.
So until I find another name that feels right, I am going to use the name whatever.
Oh wow, that's original.
That's great. I love it how you found your own answer. And as we continue to work together, I hope you'll keep talking to whatever.
Let me in on the secret.
various backgrounds, and we all called God a myriad of names when we started. We are all so different, as are each one of you. And we have one very important experience in common. In the last 3 years, we have been witnessed as ourselves by our teachers and instructors, just as we are, and we've been found capable and perfect in our imperfection. We all see the need in this complicated world to witness people in their stories and in their search for meaning without judgment or criticism. We want to allow space for each person to discover their own spiritual reality that informs and enriches their lives. We leave this training more loving, more forgiving, even John, I think, right? Ready now to serve in this capacity as intentional witnesses, as spiritual directors.
So it is our privilege and pleasure to introduce to you our new spiritual directors of 2020. Binah, Rafaela, or Rivkah.
Ceceley, Zeva, Fishman, Chambers.
Cheryl Renee Miller.
Elizabeth Cohen.
Janice E. Rubin.
Jen Wolf.
John Gottsegen.
Rabbi Julianne Denise Benioff.
Juliet Elkind-Cruz.
Laura Heather Lippman.
Lori Gabriella Lero Sanford.
Lynne Tracy Haber.
Naharit Connie Reider.
Robin Gail Rivkah Coburn.
Shayna Caul and Tango. So take a good look at these amazing beings standing in front of you. And that goes for those in the row here and those seated. These are the people that you will go to for spiritual direction, for nourishment, for guidance, for loving support. And before we bless them with the transmission that brings them into this very beautiful community of Mashpi'im and Mashpi'ot, I want to invite those of you, friends, family, witnesses, to just send your blessings silently from your heart into these souls, so that they are blanketed with your blessings before they receive the transmission. Amen. And as we transmit now, I want to invite the Mashpi'im, Mashpi'ot in the front row to hold your hands up in blessing and to echo back the transmission as you hear it here. And to you, my beloved Cohort 5, receive this blessing deeply. This is the transmission. For the sake of the unification of the Holy Blessed One and Shayna.
For the sake of the unification of the Holy Blessed One and Shayna.
By the authority of the presence.
By the authority of the presence.
And by the authority of this community.
By the authority of this community.
In the merit of Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi.
In the merit of Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi.
And his spiritual lineage.
And his spiritual lineage.
And in the legacy of all.
And the legacy of all.
our ancestors, Rabbis, angels, and guides.
Our ancestors, Rabbis, angels, and guides.
We empower you as spiritual directors.
We empower you as spiritual directors.
And call each of you Mashpia Ruchani, Mashpi'ah Ruchanit.
And call each of you Mashpia Ruchanit, Mashpia Ruchanit.
And we charge you to serve as spiritual companions and counselors.
To serve as spiritual companions and counselors.
To draw down divine flow.
To draw down divine flow.
And to channel guidance.
And to channel guidance.
To individuals and groups.
To individuals and groups.
In Jewish communities.
In Jewish communities.
And in all communities of this world.
And in all communities of this world.
May your ears listen deeply.
May your ears listen deeply.
May your eyes see what is revealed and what is concealed.
May your eyes see what is revealed and what is concealed.
May your hearts resonate with wisdom and compassion.
May your hearts resonate with wisdom and compassion.
May your mouths channel holy speech and holy silence.
May your mouths channel holy speech and holy silence.
May your hands be vessels for worthy works in the world.
May your hands be vessels for worthy works in the world.
May your depth of presence be like ours.
May your depth of presence be like ours.
Your guidance like our guidance.
Your guidance like our guidance.
Your blessings like our blessings.
Your blessings like our blessings.
And in eternal support of this holy charge.
In eternal support of this holy charge.
May the one who makes peace on high.
May the one who makes peace on high.
Make peace for you.
Make peace for you.
For us.
For us.
And for all.
And for all.
Yishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors.
May the one who blessed our ancestors.
Sheberach et kulanu im timsoret.
Who has blessed us all with a transmission.
Who has blessed us all with a transmission.
Shemaslicha et ha'avodah ha'kedusha ha'kedosha shelanu k'mashpi'im.
That empowers our holy service as Mashpi'im.
That empowers our holy service as Mashpi'im.
Hu yivarech et kulchem sheba'u halayla lihiyot ha'edim shelanu.
Bless all of you who have come here tonight and all of you online to be our witnesses.
Bless all of you who have come here tonight and all of you who are online to be our witnesses.
Im muda'ut holechet v'goveret.
With a growing awareness.
With a growing awareness.
L'shetef ha'nochachut ha'elohim v'chayechem.
Of the flow of the divine presence in your lives.
Of the flow of the divine presence in your lives.
Yehi ratzon shemuda'ut zo tachtir et karka hayesh shutchem b'hazana.
May that awareness infuse the ground of your being with nourishment.
May that awareness infuse the ground of your being with the nourishment.
Kach shetuchlu lifroach bizman tov.
So that you may flourish in good time.
So that you may flourish in good time.
Let's say. If you go out these doors and past the registration table for Ohala and turn right, our cohort here invite you
to a little dessert celebration so we can continue to celebrate and enjoy. Don't stop singing. Goodbye,